Hello guys, how are you? It's Leilani. Well, this video is about the first term of Morphosyntax and it will contain all the contents of the first term as I mentioned before. Well, to start, I need to tell you the meaning of morphosyntax. Morpho refers to morphology and this word is about the word structure and the relation between words, while syntax refers to phrase and sentence structure. Now that you know that, we can start. Let's start with lexeme, the family of words that differ only in the grammatical endings or grammatical forms. For example, the verb fly. Fly, flies, flying, flown, flown. They change in the ending. Fly is the base. Flies is conjugated to third person. Flying is the ing or gerund. Flew is the past and flown is the participle. They share the root fl, which comes from fly. Well, then we have morphemes. Morpheme is the smallest unit of language that has its own meaning or grammatical function. It can be bound, they need to be attached to other morpheme to be understood or have a meaning, and free, they don't need to be attached to others, but they can be. For example, a free morpheme can be boy, but we can add a bound morpheme like ish, that is a derivational affix or a suffix. And boyish is a derivational because it is changing the grammatical category. Well, next, word. A word is a simple, meaningful unit or element in a speech or writing. But do we know how to count words or words in the grammatical categories they belong in? Yeah, they are counted in different ways. These are called word tokens or word types. Let's see. I have wrote a sentence in here. I wrote the letter yesterday. I wrote the letter yesterday. There are in total of 5 words. These are the total of the 5 words are called word tokens. But after that, I classify them in the different grammatical categories they belong. For example, verbs, subject, noun, articles, and adverbs. The verb is wrote, the subject is I, the noun is leather, article the, adverb yesterday. Why did I classify that? Because I needed to see how many word types were in that sentences. Yeah, that grammatical categories and the number of words that are in any category are called word types. Yeah. Yeah. Well, words are classified in simplex and complex. A simplex or a simple word is that word that is formed by only one morpheme. And that complex word is the kind of word that is formed for 2 or more morphemes. A simple word could be boy, and a complex word could be boyish. Child could be a simple word, childhood a complex word. You know? So, let's move. Yeah. Now let's set the difference between a vase and a root. A vase can stand alone as a word, while a root can't. Correct and reflect are examples of vases, while vio and ject are examples of roots. Both can have prefixes or suffixes added to them. Roots: amvi, aqua, art, auto, and vi. They have meanings by themselves, but if we add to another prefix or a suffix, it changes, and this is what should be. They need to be attached to have a complex meaning. For example, art by itself means skill, but if we add to it the suffix istic, it means natural skill in art. Well, as I mentioned before, morphemes can be bound or free. Affixes are bound morphemes. But what is an affix? An affix is that tiny particle or element that attaches to a base, a root, a stem, or a word to change the meaning. Well, these are classified in prefixes or suffixes. Prefixes are that affixes that go before the root or a base, and suffixes are the ones that go after the root of a base. Well, now that we know that, I am going to explain you this. Kind. At the beginning is an adjective, but if we add to it a prefix on kind, it is still an adjective, but it's a negative adjective, and it's the opposite of kind. Well, let's do as it doesn't exist. The on doesn't exist. If we add ness to kindness, it turns to a noun. Of course, it turns to a noun. But what would happen if we just do as on exist? On kindness. It's a noun. Well, you remember that at the beginning the base was an adjective. Well, turning the adjective by adding a prefix and a suffix to a noun, it's called conversion because we're changing the grammatical category of the word. Well, let's keep going. Morphemes can be inflectional or derivational. Inflectional modify a word, and derivation create. What do we mean with modify? They change the grammatical purpose. For example, compare. They change from singular to plural, or they even change the tense from base form conjugated to third person or to past, past participle. It depends. For example, paint is a base form. Paints is conjugated to third person, and painted is a past. Dog is a singular, and dogs is a plural. And here in derivational, they create new words by changing the grammatical category and the meaning of a word. For example, kind is an adjective, but unkindness is a noun. Exact, it's an adjective, and exactly, it's an adverb by adding the ly. Cover, it's a verb, and recover, it's not the same. It's to get something back. Now that you know, we can keep going by explaining the 5 processes of word formation from derivational morphemes. There are 5 variants or irregular forms in inflectional morphology. The first one, irregular words may use different inflections than irregular ones. For example, the present and the past tenses change. Be, the present is is are, and the past is was and were. The present is by, but the past is bought. Do, the past is did, the present is eat, and the past is ate. This is what changes. The second, irregular forms may involve internal vowel changes. For example, sing is the present, sang is the past. Drive is the present, drove is the past. Food is singular, feet is the plural. Well, the third one, some forms derive from historically unrelated forms. This is called also suppletion. There are 2 kinds of suppletion, total suppletion and partial suppletion. The total, for example, bad, worse. The partial, was and were. In the total, the whole word changes, and the partial, only some letters change. The fourth, some words show no inflectional change. This is, for example, singular, plural are the same, and present, past, and past participle are the same. Fish and fish are singular and plural. Shot are the same for base, past, and past participle. And the fifth one, many borrowed words, special nouns, have irregular inflected forms. For example, phenomenon, phenomena, criterion, criteria, bacterium, bacteria, cactus, cacti, focus, foci, fungus, and fungi. Well, as I mentioned before, derivation has some processes for creating a word, which refers to word creation or word formation. Compounding, bittersweet. We are just combining 2 words, bitter and sweet, and we have a new one with a new meaning. Borrowing, it refers to take a word from a language or even from a region in the world to add it to our language in which we're talking about English. For example, hammock, which comes from Cuba or West Indies. And for talking about a region, we have taken jaguar from Brazil. Clipping, it refers that a word is used shortened for practicity. For example, the whole word is examination, but we don't use examination. What's usually to use? Exam. Blending. It refers to create a word by taking a part from a word and apart from other. Motel comes from two words which are motor and hotel. And acronyms. This is taking the first letter of every word in a phrase. For example, NASA, as soon as possible. And from as soon as possible, we just say ASAP. From talk to you later, we say TTYL. And there's also another process, which is affixation. But I mentioned affixation before. It refers to create a word by attaching to a root a prefix or a suffix. For example, productive, we just unproductive. And suffixes, thick, and we just add n, it turns to thicken, with a new meaning every word.
Yeah. Transpositional affixes. Transposition is defined as fully synonymous with word class change and syntactic category change. Well, related to this are the types of affixes. Personal affixes create people nouns. Negative affixes, they add the meaning not, and privative, they mean something like without. Prepositional and relational, they often convey notions of space and or time. Quantitatives, they have something to do with amount, and evaluatives can be diminutives, a smaller version of the base, or augmentatives, a bigger version of the base. Personal affixes, for example, with the ending er, forms agent nouns, the doer of the action. For example, writer or runner. And with the ending ee, which forms patient nouns, the person the action is done to. Negative can be with on, in, and non, unhappy. And privative can be with less or the. Shoeless or the bone. Prepositional and relational can be with over and out, overfill, outrun. Quantitative can be with full, multi or rare, handful, multifaceted, and reread. Usually means repeated action. Evaluative affixes with diminutives, let, booklet. With augmentatives, mega, megastore, or megabyte.
Hey guys, hope you liked this video, and if it was the case, hope you give it a like. So this was all for the video, hope you loved it, and see you soon. Goodbye, and thanks for watching.